Yes, good morning. Today is Wednesday. My kids are back in school, so we can have a bit of a quiet time. Yes, hello everyone. Wednesday today, 12 o'clock nearly, 10 to 5, sorry, 10 to 1, good morning, 10 to 12 here in Sweden. And very excited to be having another live here on YouTube with you. Um, I'm Chiara. I'm a certified executive coach, certified with the International Coaching Federation, and I'm also a senior executive, former senior executive in large packaging manufacturer. And today I want to talk to you about executive presence. I was reading an article about it, and I thought it was so interesting. And being an executive coach, I guess executive presence really is in line with what I do and what I work, and really want to inspire and help all the ambitious executives that are out there to really make sure that their message comes across. And so we're going to talk about that briefly. But before we jump in, if you haven't already, we have a free masterclass about stop procrastinating and achieving massive results coming up on the 12th of May at 3 p.m. Central European Time. So you haven't here already, I really recommend you to go and reserve your seat at cobone.se/masterclass. I'm going to put the link here in the show notes. And this is really a masterclass that I'm so excited to share with you. We're going to be covering three things. The first thing is, why do we procrastinate? We all do that. Why do we push forward things or we quit on things that actually matter to us? I'm going to cover that. I'm also going to cover you the 3 steps you want to take to achieve any goal. So it's going to be really hands-on, practical tips that you can apply every day. And then the other thing is really something that I started applying now since a few months, and it works so well. And also it works with my coaching clients. And it's the power formula, 3 things that you can do every day to stay on track and really make your goals a priority. So this is the content of the masterclass, 12th of May. So register your spot and reserve your seat for the masterclass. And even if you can't attend on that specific time of day, depending on where in the world you are, if you register and reserve your seat, I can send you then the recording, the link to the recording, so that you don't miss it. And of course, I'm gonna try to do another timing. So if you prefer another timing, just maybe leave me a message, leave me a comment, so we'll see if we can accommodate also different timings maybe next time. All right, so let's talk about executive presence. And executive presence, from the article that I was reading, it talks about 3 different elements and drivers of your executive presence that you want to make sure that they are in place so that they don't stay in a way for you to really express your full potential. So the first element is really your gravitas. And I love this word gravitas. I'm Italian, if you haven't noticed, but gravitas comes from Latin, so Italian is very Latin-based language. And in Latin, gravis means serious. So your gravitas is really about your seriousness, your dignity, and your gravitas really is about how deep you know your stuff. Do you know your things 3 question downs? And it's so interesting because there's different drivers and the thoughts, opinions around, do you need to know your stuff, or you have to have people in your team that know the stuff, so you don't need to know that 3 levels down. But the reality is that your seriousness and your recognized ability to contribute, your executive ability and executive presence will be influenced by how deep you know your stuff. So I want you to watch out if you're not knowing your stuff too deeply. And I was actually a victim of that myself in my former job, because I always, in that particular job, there was a lot of technicalities that I didn't have much understanding of, and that really affected my executive presence. It really affected my credibility in the workplace. So I think it's so interesting, and I don't want you to do the same mistake as I did. So really watch out. Do you know your stuff? Are you comfortable? And don't be afraid to ask questions to people that know more about it than you do. So really make sure that you are, increasing your gravitas to the max. So the first thing is the gravitas. The second thing is your communication skills. And oh my God, this is so important, right? It doesn't matter if you know your things so well. If you are not able to communicate, then if you're not able to let your message come across, how much that is going to be in the way for your gravitas to shine, for your executive presence to really come to life and shine in the workplace. So communication skill is really about being able to storytell, putting yourself in your stakeholders and your interlocutor shoes, and make sure that he's following you, that he's with you in the story you're telling. Am I is he following along? Are my language skills right? Am I the word that I'm using? Am I taking the time? Am I having eye contact? So there's a lot of things that we can do in our communication skills to really make sure that it doesn't stay in the way for executive presence to shine and to come to life. So is your message coming across? How do you know how to be heard? Do you know how to, like, remember when I was doing musical education, they were really teaching you also how to use your diaphragm for instead of your throat, to really make sure that your tone of voice is also quite steady, quite being able to be heard. So I think it's really interesting to pay attention to those things. And sometimes what they also recommend you is maybe you want to rehearse in front of a mirror and see yourself. How do you come across when you speak? Would ask maybe your partner, your friend, to give you some feedback openly, and for you to be able to increase and improve your communication skills. It's so important how we are coming across, how our stories are coming across, so that we make sure that our gravitas, which is the stuff we know, and the seriousness, the dignity that we have, actually comes across and is recognized by our peers, our people. So that's the second thing for the executive presence. And then the last one is actually really your physical presence. And I know that this is also a bit of a sensitive topic, because it's about how you come across, how you are, your presence, how you stand straight with your shoulders, how your hair looks, how your clothes look. And it is no news that the way you come across will give a message to the people that you're interacting with. So if you're looking sloppy, if it looks like you just woke up, your executive presence will be affected for it. It doesn't mean that you need to be solely fully in suit and everything. Of course, if you want to, if that's the type of personality you want to get across, maybe you want to be reflecting that also in the choice of your clothes, in the choice of the environment you're portraying. So there's a lot of things that will be influencing your presence. So how you dress, how you stand, if that is not right, and right is always subjective, right? It doesn't fit the personality and the type of gravitas that you want to show, that will stay in the way. And we want your gravitas to shine. We want your executive presence to really reach the full potential, to not stay in the way, for you to be able to be heard, to be understood, to be given the right space. So you want to really think about how am I showing up? How is my presence coming across? So those were the three elements that are contributing to your executive presence to really shine. And I thought it was so interesting. So just to summarize, it's your gravitas, how well you know your stuff, your communication skills, how are you able to let your message come across, how well are you a storyteller, and putting yourself in the shoes of the person that is listening to your story. And the third is your presence. How do you come across? How will people perceive you and your environment that you're in? Executive presence. So I hope it was helpful. And just before we wrap up here, if you haven't already, I want you really to go and register yourself right away at the masterclass. For the masterclass, reserve your seat for the masterclass about stop procrastinating and achieving master results. It's going to be a very engaging and exciting conversation and discussion. I will take Q&As. I will also send you ahead of the meeting a worksheet so that you can take notes and really make sure that you're not passively consuming the content, but really actively participating. You go to covone.se, as in covone.se /masterclass, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.